Hey everyone, this is Viren and welcome back to my n8n playlist. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up your first AI agent with n8n. So we're going to cover the basics. We'll not build something super complicated, but just show you how the AI node works and what are the different things you can do with it. We create one simple AI agent. If you're new to this playlist so far, I've shown you how to set up n8n, create your first basic automation. I've also shown you how to set up n8n locally or self-host it in your server as well. You can go over that. We also create some basic automations, connect Google Sheets, Gmail, and things like that. And in this video, like I said, we'll look into AI agents. So let's get started. So somebody filled the link in the description. What should I build next? And if you want me to build something for you or your business, fill in the form in the description and I'll get it done. So somebody filled it and this is what we have. I have a sales tracker sheet, look something like this. Can I create a flow that runs every day at 8 a.m., sends me a summary of this sheet over email, pipeline health, follow-ups that I need to do, stale leads, things like that. So their team works on this sheet every day and they want to be up to date, right? So that largely seems to be the problem statement. And this I thought was the perfect opportunity to introduce AI agents in our playlist. So now let's get into the sheet, and this is what that sales pipeline demo looks like. Of course, this is not their real data. I just created a version of it using AI. And this is what it has. It has the lead name, company, source, their requirements, the deal value, current status, last contacted, next follow-up, and some notes, right? So basically, can we use AI agent to summarize this every day and send it to the founder of the business, right? And that is the AI agent that we are going to build today. Now let's get into n8n. Now, for the purposes of this video, I've chosen to use my own private hosted n8n setup, which we had done in Hostinger. You could use your local setup as well as your directly n8n hosted setup as well, right? So the choice is yours. So let's create a new workflow and I'll give it a name. So daily sales pipeline summary. Just like every other n8n flow, this one will start with a trigger as well. And for this instance, I want to run this on a schedule, right? So every day at 8 a.m., I want to trigger this, right? So let's close this. So the trigger is set. Now the next thing we need to do is pull data from the sheet we created. So Google Sheets, and we want to get rows in this sheet, right? Now for the account that we're going to use here, we're going to create new credentials. And if you're using the n8n hosted account, then you will simply see a sign in with Google here, which you can use. But for self-hosted or local setup, I had covered this in one of the videos in our playlist. So if you go into the playlist, and the link to this video is in the description as well, you will see that here I had covered how to connect Google Apps to your self-hosted or local setup. So you can just watch that and you'll be up to speed on how to connect Google Sheets. But back here, I already have mine connected, so I will just simply use that. The resource we are using is a sheet within a document. So document is your entire Google Sheet, while sheets within it is individual tabs. And we want to get rows. From here, I can just put URL and enter the URL of the sheet. So I'll copy it, come back here. This is the URL that we need to use. And from this sheet, there is only one tab, which is sheet 1. That's the one we're going to use. There are no filters that I want to add on top of it. So let's try to execute. And here what I can see is that 15 items were reported back, which is pretty much the entire sheet, right? So we have access to this entire sheet now within n8n, which is great. Let's rename this and say at 8 a.m. here. And now we set up the AI agent. So I add another node here, AI. We can just simply choose AI agent from here, right? Now let's back up a little bit. There are some parts to this, right? So there is obviously data coming into the AI agent, and then there are 3 components here. The first one is the brain, which is basically the chat model that you want to use. And there are multiple options to choose from, and we can choose whatever, like, Gemini, OpenAI, Anthropic, whatever you want to use, you can create here, but you will need their API credentials. I'll quickly show you one of them in a minute. The second bit is memory. So if you need your AI agent to have access to some kind of memory, like you want it to store some previous chats that it has done, or you want it to have access to some database, we can set up all of that here. Lastly, there are tools. So AI agent can have access to different tools, and n8n gives us a whole bunch of tools out of the box. So we could connect our AI agents to all of these third-party tools like Gmail or Google Sheets, and it can perform actions on our behalf with all of these connectors. For now, for this agent, obviously we need a brain. So let's pick OpenAI chat model. Now, as soon as we select OpenAI chat model, we need to be able to create credential. And here, pretty much what you need is the API key. And I'll quickly show you how to get one. So I'll go into platform.openai.com. If you're logged out, you will have an option to log in. So you can simply log in. I am already logged in, right? Now here, you can essentially create API keys that allow you to access chat GPT models through APIs, right? Which we will use in our n8n account. Now you can create these APIs, you can add them to different projects. So I have some multiple projects here. If you want to cleanly have different API keys for different projects, right? So you can do that here. And once you have your API keys ready, the only piece that remains is that you need to have billing enabled and you need to have some money in the account. So I go into settings and under billing, you can here add credit to your balance. You can do auto recharge. For me, honestly, I just add $10 at a time, and this lasts me at least like a month or so, maybe more sometimes. So you can simply just add some money here. You can go into payment methods, add your credit card, and yeah, feel free to turn off auto recharge as well so that money is not deducted from your card if that's a challenge for you. But pretty much once you have balance here, you can come back to API keys and you'll have all your keys available here, right? So let me create one right now. Let's just call it test. You can add it to any project if you want to and create the key. You only get to see this API key once, so ensure you copy it, store it somewhere. But for us, this is fine. I'm just going to copy this, come back into n8n, and here paste the OpenAI key. This is pretty much all that is needed. Once this is done, now I can select from any of the OpenAI models. Now, basically, just to get a little bit of idea of pricing, let's go back into OpenAI platform, and here in billing, go into pricing. This gives you access to all the pricing for different ChatGPT models. You can go into detailed pricing, and here you will get a list of older models as well and their pricing. From what you can see here is that these pricing are generally per million token. So input per million token, output per million token. So for the purposes of this video, I'll choose GPT 5.4 mini, right? So I'll go here, let's find 5.4. And you can always test, right? So for example, if I went into a little bit more cheaper model like a 5.4 nano, and if that also solves my use case, I really don't need mini as well. But if mini doesn't solve my use case, maybe I can try a slightly better model as well. But this is it. We're set up with our OpenAI account here. Now, the next thing to do here is actually get the AI agent prompt set up, right? To set up the prompt, I will change the source of the prompt to define below so that we can define the entire prompt here. Let's move this into expression, open this up. So now you have a bigger playground here to write. When I open this up, I just realized that while writing my prompt, I'm only able to reference one row at a time, even though I know that there are 15 row items that were fetched, right? So what I'm going to do here is actually step back a little, delete this connector, and we'll first create an aggregator here. So go into data transformation, aggregate, and what this will help us do is aggregate all of these row numbers into one output, right? And here I'll change aggregate to all item data into a single list. Put output in a field, I'll just call it sales pipeline and include all the fields. Let's execute this. And here what I can now see is that I very clearly have all the output in one table. So now if I close this and now connect this into the AI agent, now if I come back to the AI agent, I can see that the aggregate node is now giving me the entire sales pipeline. So I can now use this. Now, when defining prompts, obviously there are two kinds of prompts. One is a system message and the other one is the user message. So typically, if you're new to this, what this means is that the system message is basically what we are inputting for the bot before a user starts interacting with it, right? So it is basically telling the bot that it's a helpful assistant in this case, or in our case, we will give it a prompt to tell it that, its job is to analyze the sales pipeline, output a certain kind of data, all of that, right? So I used AI to kind of write this system prompt for me, and I'll just paste it here. We'll quickly read it as well so that you can have a look. So what I'm telling the AI agent in the system prompt is that you are a sales pipeline assistant. Every morning, you analyze the full pipeline and deliver a brief to the founder. You will receive JSON array of leads. Each lead has these fields, and you need to write a briefing on exactly three things: the pipeline health. So give a quick snapshot of it. What are the follow-ups they need to do today? And are there any stale leads? So once you're done processing all of this, format it into a clean HTML for email. Use headers and things like that. And in the end, we're adding today's date so that it has context of what day it is today. I think this variable I can get from this particular node. So let me remove this and add the readable date here. So this is what the entire prompt looks like, right? Let's close this. Now come back to the user message. Here, the only thing I need to write is the entire pipeline data. And I can bring in this entire pipeline data here. So when I paste the entire pipeline here, what you'll see is here just object, right? Now, ideally, I want you to be able to solve these kind of things without me as well. So if you just took a screenshot of this and added to like ChatGPT or something, it'll tell you how to solve this. Now, in my case, when I did that, and I'll show you here, it just basically told me that I need to use something called JSON.stringify, right? And I'm not going to go into the technical reasons of this, but what you'll see is if I pulled these objects, it would come properly, but the entire JSON would not. So let's just replace it. And I can now see that the entire list works fine, right? So now let's close this, execute this step. And hey, we have an output, and we have an output in HTML format, which is best suited for Gmail. Let's close this and now add the next step, which is Gmail. So I want to send a message. My Gmail account is already connected. Again, just like with Google Sheets, you can go to that previous video and check out how this setup works. But for now, I'll just quickly jump into it. I'll enter my own email address. So we'll see what this looks like. For the subject line, your daily sales pipeline review. Email type is HTML, or you could just have text. But in this case, we've got HTML created with the AI agent. So let's do that. And in the message, I will just copy this output. From the previous video, we know that we want to remove this n8n attribution. Let's execute this. Can't tell much from this, but let's open up email. And this email is here. You can see it has the total leads, total pipeline, open pipeline value, the number of deals and their stages, follow-ups today, what kind of follow-up is needed, stale leads. So all of that is here, right? And now you could customize it for your own pipeline, the details that you need to be seen. And the win for us mostly today in this video is that we know how to create an AI agent using a basic chat model. We've looked at system messages and user messages as well in terms of prompting. And pretty soon in the coming videos, we'll get into memory, tool, and things like that. And if you want me to create something for your business, then you can fill in the form here. The link is in the description, and I'll get started on that. And I'll see you in the next one.